the crowd and raised his voice up way out loud and waved his arm and shook his leg. You notice him? If someone in the movie show yelled fire in the second row, this whole place is a powder keg. You notice him? And even without clucking like a hen, everyone gets noticed now and then. Unless, of course, that personage should be invisible, inconsequential. Who fed you fish and scratched your ears? You notice him? Suppose you was a woman wed and sleeping in a double bed beside one man for 7 years. You notice him? A human being's made of more than air. With all that bulk, you're bound to see him there. Unless that being next to you is unimpressive, undistinguished, you know. Take up too much of your time. The bubble wrap. So I was just sitting alone. Everyone had left. There was some bubble wrap in the corner, and I had to grab it. I just had to pop it. But who knew that popping bubble wrap was a federal offense? They had it come. They had it come. They only had themselves to blame. If you'd have She had it coming. She had it coming. She only had herself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done the same.
Loiter. Is something that can be solved as easily as move along really a crime? My 30-page rap sheet and all that's on there is loitering, loitering, loitering. Last time I was loitering, well, I was eating a banana, leaning against the wall, and the stupid security guard goes and tells me to move. And of course I'm not going to move, because that's just not what I do. So I'm yelling at him, I get so angry, well, I end up squeezing the banana, and it explodes all over his face.
He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done the same.
Era nuestro aniversario. ¿Quién se va a pensar que una persona asesina a su marido en su aniversario? Era el día perfecto, así que cuando fui al baño, fui a la cocina, cogí un cuchillo y ¡bah! Lo maté. Al día siguiente vino la policía y me preguntó a ver si sabía lo que había pasado. Y yo les dije, not guilty.
They had it coming. They had it coming. They had themselves to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done the same. It was my wedding night. My husband and I went to the Hotel Cicero. Later on that night, as I went to the hotel, I heard this strange noise. It wasn't usual noise. It was like a truck driver pounding down on the road. I got crazy, insane. And as I went to my room, it started getting louder. And then, when I opened the door, the noise was coming from my husband. A lot of things I could put up with, but not that. So, to make him stop, I put the pillow on his head. And then, the noise stopped.